The military police are doing too much, and the community leaders go out to see what they can do about stopping this. They said, look, if we don't do anything, then that's not good for everybody. That's not good for the residents. So we got to try and do something. So somehow, some way, so we know Wilson is in the city of God. This is also the first, this is how you know the severity went up. This is the first time that Wilson, attempts to go get his mom and his daughter out of the city of God, even though there's been wars that have broken out before. And he ain't never said, hey, come and stay with me and stay.
He's like, there's the eye.
Also, the lady who plays the grandmother, I am in love with her presence. There's something about her. I love her. I love her white hair. I love her bun.
She's always in the kitchen.
She's so black. Oh gosh. And Wilson is like, mama, come on, we gotta go, basically. And she's like, I'm trying to finish cooking. What I gotta leave for? This is my house. I've been here. What?
And also she's used to that. She's like, this happens all the time. Like, I got to make my greens. Like, what is you talking about?
So that's how you know the level of seriousness went up even more, because Wilson otherwise would just be like, okay, they just having a shootout, whatever. Mama be all right.
And also that was the first scene we ever really saw Wilson attempt to like be a father to and he definitely checked her. He was like, listen, I said what I said, come on. And and she shut up. And for once she shut up.
For once. Shut up now. And so because he's there, he ends up running into Stringy, and they go and get Roberta. Okay.
Berenice.
I see Roberta and I just think Roberta. Lord forgive me. So Stringy and Buscapé, Rocket, Wilson meet up and they go and get Berenice. And they decide that they are going to go and chat up Melonhead, aka Reginaldo, and figure out, what they can do to try and put a stop to the BS.
Yeah.
At this point, this was the most quiet I have been watching this show. Even though there were so many things I was reacting to, sound wouldn't come out because I didn't want to miss anything. I was sitting there, hands on my head, like, right. So we see them come up on Reginaldo, who is having that weird press conference, and they start to, turn up, and rightfully so, right? And they're referring to him by his street name. They are, letting him know, hey, look, we know you, we've known you, we know how you are. You need to put a stop to this. Of course, things don't go the way that they should. And we start to see some familiar imagery for us as Black Americans, right?
Yeah.
The police doing too much. That's when Stringy gets struck in the face, and Berenice turns completely up, right? And I thought, okay, that's enough. That's already enough. And they kind of exit after they realize there's not going to be any resolution. And then they try to get out the way. I have to know what you were thinking when the actual war broke out. As they were running through, trying to just get out of Dodge, running one way away from the thugs in the favelas, if you will, and then running the opposite way from the police. So in between a rock and a hard place. What were you thinking as this scene was playing out? Because it was a lot for me, T.
It was a lot. It really was a lot. I was also extremely quiet watching it, like so quiet because I didn't want to make a sound. I didn't have a sound to make. I was just like, oh my God. I thought the imagery of the three of them running together was so strong and so powerful because, again, we have these three actors who were in the original.
Yes.
So then see them now being adults playing these characters. I thought of it from that perspective. Also thought about like, okay, these, in the concept of the show, these were children dealing with this same type of thing. Now they are adults still dealing with this same type of thing, still trying to make it right for their community and still trying to like survive. So it was like, oh man, there's that piece of it. Then there was the piece of like, it's a show, so we know something's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
What happened is not what I expected to happen, but it happened. And it
Ugh.
was, for me, it was the acting, it was the way that the sound, you and I were talking about being quiet. The sound on the actual show itself was just the sound of, what is it, like
The
was it a
ringing.
grenade? Yeah, that ringing, like that's all we heard. So it was essentially quiet. Silent. They did things.
That was so perfect. That was perfectly thought out because visually that whole scene shifts, right? So we get clear view of what's happening in one moment. Second moment, they throw out that smoke bomb. We don't see anything. We don't know what's going on. And then to alter the audio, we hear ringing and we hear the yells and screams, although they're muffled. We see the expressions. This was Alexandre Rodrigues. This was Buscapé's episode. Do you hear me?
It was. And this, to me, I was like, okay, this is where the Emmys come in. This is where the awards come in.
Oh my gosh.
This was the moment.
He kind of has been, more so chill. He gives us emotion in different ways throughout the season. And for the first time, he exploded a bit, right?
Yeah.
And it was that decision alone. I don't even know how they came to that conclusion when they were writing this. That decision alone made the punch hit so much harder because we know Buscapé don't do all of that.
Baby, Buscapé be right here the whole time, right?
He monotone, chilling.
All the time.
They be shooting out and he be taking pictures like, okay.
Got
okay,
it,
and to see that emotion. And so there's that scene. He takes off running across the street, to get to the other side. And he does it in, without sight, if you will. And they can't really hear him yelling because everybody's ears are ringing from that bomb, right?
Yeah.
Woo! And they finally try to make that run to meet him on to the other side of the street. And I said, I know y'all didn't.
They didn't.
I know y'all didn't do this. So this is me in my head as I'm watching this because again, this show is doing the shit. In my head, I'm saying, okay, y'all did this so that way. This is me trying to convince myself that this show, that City of God has favorites and it doesn't. I said, okay, y'all did this so that way it's leveled up now. Stringy gonna be, in the hospital recovering and they really gonna be mad, right? This is me.
Okay, that's what you were thinking. Okay,
Oh yeah. Okay. I didn't get the sense of seriousness until they were in the back of that military police vehicle and trying to get to the hospital. And again, we get those locked in, intimate close-up shots, panning from one character to the other. And what's perfect about this casting, I'm even like, I'm elated, honestly, right now, because it's so, I've just not seen something like this good in so long. What's amazing about this is that they have the footage to reference back to, them in their youth, and it's actually them.
It's
you don't get that from shows. You watch a movie and there's a flashback, but they cast a different actor to play young so-and-so, and they cast somebody else to play young. These are these boys when they were boys, and now they're men and they're reprising these roles, and it somehow makes you care so much more about the characters than ever before,
See, I ain't gonna lie to you. That was the moment I was like, is this a little
Oh, my
It's
eyes
not.
were getting wet right here for some reason.
It's not. It's not
My eyes were getting wet right here. And I'm gonna tell y'all now,
right here.
listen, cast and crew, city guy, don't do this to me. I don't play that. I'm too grown, okay? Don't get my eyes wet from around here. Otherwise, we might have a problem.
They did the
Okay?
things. They did it. Yeah, that was the part for me. I also had those same thoughts. I was like, yo, the fact that they have the footage to show them as teens and now grown men.
I even think, because I've seen City of God so many times, there was that scene where they show Buscapé as a young boy, and I think it was just test shots that they maybe repurposed for this, where he's standing next to the column.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you about that.
That wasn't in the movie. To me, I feel like those were test shots that they had and they used, because at first I'm looking at it and I'm like, is this AI?
Yeah.
Is this? Yeah. But it didn't feel like that. It didn't look like that.
I was going to ask you about that because, like, you know, I'm new to the COG community.
That scene is not in the movie.
And I was like, I don't remember this scene in the movie. And then I was like, maybe they just took that and then put it on like a different backdrop. But yeah, like you said, it may have been test shots, but it was perfect. Like the fact that they can do that, that's what makes this show so great, where you can like really care about these characters and be connected to these characters. It's just A1.
It's amazing.
A1.
Before we tie up here, I just want to say, because there's something just completely magical here that has happened with this show. In the characters' time, as we're talking about the characters, this is the exact amount of time forward in the character timeline, the storyline, that these characters would be at this point. Simultaneously, in real life, these actors, these performers, this is their real timeline. This is 22 years later, both ways. Yeah. And so what you have is people who have known each other, you know, industry-wise, but also they basically grew up automatically being tied to one another. You know what I mean? And so when these scenes are playing out with Berenice and Stringy and Buscapé, there's something authentic there that's happening, because you can tell that these are people who I've known you most of my life at this point, right? And so we're able to not only play off of each other, but there is some real kind of emotion that happens that you don't get out of shows where people are just, you know, they're just working together for the first time on that movie or that series.
Or when you have actors who have always been actors, like child actors specifically, who have always been on auditions and, oh, I've been in Disney, or I played on Barney, or I was on PBS, and they're used to that, right? But from what you shared with me, a lot of these actors from the original COG were just people who lived in the neighborhood, people in the area. So this wasn't what they came up doing. And so to have that shared experience of like, we may not have been seasoned actors, we may not have been child stars, but we had this shared experience where we were in this like cult classic, huge global film together. And then 20 years later, we're coming back to do it again. Yeah. I mean, like you said, that's just something that cannot be fake. That is authentic. That's real.
Because they've all had their real life struggles, their time in between. And then you also assume this with the, you know, the characters and stuff as well. Many years before this happened, Alexandre Rodrigues was doing rideshare, you know? So he wasn't like consistently acting. He had to supplement his income some kind of way.
Listen, that's a word.
You know, so people have their moments in their struggles and things like this that happen in between. And you could just see this shared commonality amongst this cast that you just don't get. So as we wrap up here, there's a scene in the hospital. Again, they gave me a bit of hope.
I don't know why you thought that.
I'm gonna tell you why. And they did it on purpose though. When that doctor comes out to give them the news about Stringy not making it. It's not right?
It's not Tyler Perry.
He calmly tells them or whatever. And then Buscapé, Wilson, Rocket, stops and he is sitting there. He kind of takes a shallow breath. And that breath could mean two things. It could mean relief.
Yeah, okay.
Or it could mean defeat, right?
Yeah.
And then Bernice's reaction to him was also not like, oh! She didn't hang her head completely. She just kind of was like, and the way she walked up to him was like she could have been crying because it's so much, or it's just the emotion in the room. Like, thank God he's okay, or crying because he's gone. And everyone around them, the other guy, I think the actor's name is Jeffrey something. Who's the other politician? That is, works closely with Stringy and took up for him later. Okay. And all of the other key players who were at the hospital too, their reactions also weren't straight up like, oh. So I was in that scene. I said, oh, okay. So I'm right. He's good. Baby, the visuals on. I almost want to get up out of my chair. The visuals on this scene, them walking through that street, holding. First of all, Black people be looking good in all white, don't we?
We do. That's why we keep having white parties. No matter where in the world you go, we're gonna have a white party.
But then that imagery, them walking through the streets, it was so much.
This was another point where I had to dab my tears.
Yeah, it was a lot because I'm sitting back and this is going on longer than we wanted, but I think y'all understand why. I'm sitting.
In a minute, it's gonna be longer than the episode because the episode was 44 minutes.
No. We can slice this up. But there is. This is the thought I had in my head. This is set in the early 2000s in Brazil. Here we are in the 2020s, and this imagery is still a thing. We recently saw this stuff. We recently seen this, and all I'm thinking is, damn, like Black people can't have peace anywhere.
Yeah, it was
I should not be able to relate with this so much. You know what I mean? And then we get to the point where they reach the blockade of officers, and you're just like, okay, surely y'all not about to show out, and they trying to, put this man to rest, And some of the most powerful imagery we got to date in this series. We've seen it all before. It's not anything new, and it still hits. There's photos from the 50s and 60s and, the civil rights era and all these things where you see a lone Black woman standing up to the authority of whoever, right? And I said, y'all, this is crazy, crazy familiar. It was just perfect. Delano goes and tries to stop it, gets knocked down. We see Cynthia come over and she's protecting her son. How often have we seen this happen? How often have we seen a Black mom having to physically try to stop the police from hurting her son? Yeah. And then the way Bernice, Roberta Rodrigues is that girl. I'm sorry. She's not only visually beautiful, she's gorgeous, right? But she is not afraid to just get gritty and do all of the things and give us all this kind of raw emotion. And I said, this was perfect. This was the right thing. And then also, writing and storytelling is paramount here on this show. Buscapé, Wilson finally got photos to give to the newspaper that were not, morbid, that were not obscene, that were of.
Okay, I didn't catch that.
Yeah,
Yes, he did. He did.
Yeah. So that was really telling. It just all culminated so well. I hate that Stringy had to be the vessel for us to get to this next point. Yeah. But now, as this episode has wrapping up, we see that they want to position Berenice in that spot that Stringy was doing before. Well, I'll let you talk for a moment because how do we end? How do we close out? And by the way, y'all, of course, it's Angela Bassett for me. So whatever. Y'all don't even gotta. We're not even gonna play about this. This was amazing. How do we close out this episode? And what do you think is gonna come up for the next?
I don't even know how we closed out. How we closed out with
it was Berenice,
right? Right, with Bernice. Oh, that's right. We closed out with them giving Bernice next up. So they wanted it to be Cynthia. And she was like, nah. Her son was like, absolutely not. And she was like, no, it's not for me. It's for Bernice. And rightfully so. So next up is Bernice. We're going to see how that goes. I'm interested to see her interactions with Bradock because, him and her have a tit for tat kind of a thing. I think he does have a little bit of like a respect for her.
Yeah.
But now with her, stepping up into this leadership position, I'm interested to see how that dynamic is going to change. Also with her being a woman, we have to remember this is 2004. Things were different. So I'm interested to see how them having a woman leader, how that impacts the COG and the people of COG. But yeah, for me, it's also Angela Bassett. I already told y'all out the gate. This show has done it and continues to do it. And bravo and kudos to the actors and everybody who put this together because y'all did that.
Yeah.
Where the Emmys at?
Where's whatever awards y'all can give, y'all need to go ahead and give them out. Let's not play these games, y'all. What do you think we are gonna get? So next week is our season finale, which that's so sad to me because this show has been so amazing.
Yeah.
Which also proves that you don't need a million episodes to get a lot done if you're doing it with intention and you're doing it right.
A word. For me, I think next week we're going to see, I keep saying it, the continued unraveling of Bradock. I think that we are going to see Lígia getting people hurt again, if not herself. And I think we might see, Buscapé showing a little bit more emotion. We got a lot of emotion from him this episode, and I think he's charged up. I think he's ready for change. I think he's ready to be involved. So I think we'll see some more from him. What do you think?
Buscapé, Wilson, Rocket has the photos that he wants to suit his narrative that his daughter wanted him to change, and that he's been, that's why he's been running around with Lígia for so long to try and change what he's been doing. And he has two things. He has the imagery of Roberta, as a leader. So that's one thing. But remember, he also has the actual photo evidence of Jerusa with Israel. Clear as day, not blurred, not guessing, not them actually kissing, right? Embracing. He has and also Israel's in uniform. He's got the bulletproof vest on, so there's no question about what he was doing, where he was at, because they were also on TV, right? He has the things. Now, it's a matter of, is his job going to put that story out? And if they do, it levels up everything because Denturo is confirmed. He knows that they have been up to no good and they've been working together and he's a part of that whole corrupt thing. And then also the politicians, shift on that too, because you're exposing the people in power. So that's going to come down on you in some way. And you're just a lone photographer. I think that's where we're going to end off. But I think as a result Also, this is where Bradock gets his confirmation about Jerusa. And I'm still wondering if, either one of them are going to make it out. Something big will happen for the finale because this show is not playing. And I can't wait to see what that's going to be.
Yeah. And we will be, of course, recapping and reviewing and ranting and raving about it next week, of course.
Ooh, ooh. Well, we will see you all for the season finale. If you watch this, leave a like, comment, all the things. Let us know what you thought about this episode 5 of City of God: The Fight Rages On, and let's converse, let's chat because this was a lot. R.I.P. Brother Stringy.
R.I.P. Stringy. We lost the real one.
Peace out, y'all.